Hello, I'm Clark Saunders. Today I want to talk for the last time about a collection of songs for children called Tales and Tunes of the Old Testament. I wrote the words of these songs, and Craig Castles is the composer who wrote the music. As I come to the last of these commentaries, I want to say something about two songs whose subjects have something in common. Just as Samuel Heard a Voice and Just a Child are similar in the way that they both tell stories about boys who appear in the book of 1 Samuel, the songs I'll describe here both concern Old Testament figures who showed courage in times of danger and persecution when the Hebrew people were living in exile. The book of Esther is not particularly long, just 10 chapters, but it's long enough to tell a tale that involves a lot of intrigue, many twists and turns, and a number of characters. In writing a song about Esther, Craig Castles and I decided to leave out many details and several characters and go straight to the heart of the matter, or at least what we felt was the heart of the matter. Esther's Request is a song that begins and ends with the singers asking themselves and others a question that Esther had to answer for herself. If a king were to grant you just one wish, what do you think he would do? The setting for the story and the song is Persia, at a time when a number of exiled Jews lived there. They were subject to persecution, so when the king, looking for a new wife, decided to marry Esther, she followed the advice of her cousin Mordecai and concealed the fact that she was Jewish. But then, when a plot to massacre her fellow Jews was discovered, Esther took advantage of the king's offer to grant her a wish by asking him to cancel the deadly decree. In making her request, she revealed the fact that she was Jewish herself, and in doing that, she was taking an enormous chance. If the king had rejected her plea, it would have meant death for herself, along with the rest of her people. The verses of the song provide the bare essentials of the story, and a refrain between the two verses raises the question of what Esther will ask for when she is granted a wish. Eventually, we get the answer when we learn of her courageous decision to put the needs of her people ahead of her own safety. Children are familiar with stories in which someone is granted a wish, and there is usually an element of suspense as we wait to hear what the individual will wish for. The appeal of Esther's story and of this song lies partly in that sense of anticipation. But the children may also be drawn to her example by the fact that they generally admire someone who shows signs of courage and generosity of spirit. The song ends by challenging both singers and listeners to transform that admiration into imitation, when once again it asks the opening question. If a king were to grant you just one wish, what do you think you would do? Would you ask a favor for yourself alone, or a favor for others too?
If a king were to grant you just one wish, what do you think you would do? Would you ask a favor for yourself alone, or a favor for others too? Esther lived with her people away in a foreign land, but many there treated them badly. There was hatred on every hand, but the king fell in love with Esther, while her background she kept concealed. He married her and crowned her queen. She felt safe while her secret was unrevealed. But if the king were to grant her just one wish, what do you think she would do? Would she ask a favor for herself alone, or think Those who hated her people plotted to have them killed. If Esther had kept her secret, all those plans might have been fulfilled. But the king, when he spoke to Esther, promised her one request. She told her truth and risked her life. Her decision would make Esther's people blessed. When the king granted Esther just one wish, what did she ask him to give? She was brave and boldly made this one request, that the king let her people live. And the king let her people live. If a king were to grant you just one wish, what do you think you would do? Would you ask a favor for yourself alone, or a favor for others too?
The book of Daniel has some things in common with the book of Esther. They both involve exiled Hebrew communities and central characters who show bravery in the face of danger. Both stories include a king whose power plays a central part in the story. But there are differences as well. Esther lived in Persia. Daniel's story is set in Babylon. And it is likely that Daniel is more familiar to people because of a particular episode in his story, the tale of Daniel in the lion's den, recounted in chapter 6. That, at any rate, is the story we decided to set to music, and that is the title we gave to the song. And if we're thinking of differences, the jazzy musical idiom that Craig used for Daniel's story makes for a livelier, cheekier melody than the one he provided for Esther. It is the familiarity of Daniel's story, "I know the story very well," as the song says, that allows us to distance ourselves from the horror of being thrown into a den of lions and actually have some fun with this well-worn tale. It even allows for a big finish, followed by a whispered "yeah" at the end, all in keeping with the musical idiom. One more difference to observe between the tales of Esther and Daniel. It has been noted that Esther's book makes no explicit mention of God, and neither does our song about her. But Daniel's fate is dictated specifically because he refuses to worship the king, who in fairness had a soft spot for Daniel, and remains faithful to his God. After the angel shuts the lions' mouths, the king is impressed and issues a decree in which he honors Daniel's God. These are important elements in the story, and as short as this song is, we made sure we included them.
Whoa, Daniel in the lion's den, I know the story very well. An angel shut the lions' mouths, and Daniel lived the tale to tell. The king had said, "Forget your God, bow down and worship only me." But Daniel worshipped God alone, no matter what the price would be. Daniel in the lion's den, was anyone so bold and brave? An angel shut the lions' mouths in order Daniel's life to save. The king saw Daniel still alive. He said, "Release him, set him free. His God is worthy of respect," the king declared in a decree. lion's den. His faith was tested hard, but then